So, hi everybody, how are you? Today we have Catherine with us. She is the Instagram queen. Welcome, Catherine. Welcome to Porchlight TV. So, can you just tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, your business, what do you do, that sort of thing?
Hi, Tracy. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm a big Instagram fan. I don't think I've ever been called the Instagram queen, so I'm going to run with that. I like it. So when my daughter was about 4 and getting ready to go back to kindergarten, I was out for dinner with a bunch of girlfriends, and I just said I need to, I want to find a work from home business that I can do when she's in school. And I was kind of really into social media and I used to have a personal assisting agency. So a bunch of my friends were like, you can help people with your social media. And that's where Digital Marketing Simplified started. It turned out that a local guy who was training digital marketing directors at the time had a course starting like 2 weeks later, and I just jumped in. And one of my first clients was at Granville Island, like a big, and I must have had that client within 6 weeks of starting that course. So it's just always been my thing. And being a mom and a business owner, I've always looked for, I started to eventually, I shouldn't say always, look for the biggest payoff for the least amount of work. And I landed on Instagram, right? I want the results. Right? And we're all struggling, the digital age has really put us all in a position where we are struggling to market our businesses, grow our businesses, serve our clients, and how do we do all this at once? And so a couple of years ago, I just sort of realized that Instagram is easy to manage, easy to create content for, easy to build relationships on, and easy to drive traffic with. So
that's perfect. Like that is so similar to the real estate industry, which leads me into my next question. I have my notes here. So, how is the Instagram beneficial to the real estate industry?
Instagram, and this is really important for real estate, Instagram really sells a lifestyle. So I think that's where the whole influencer thing came from. If you are 25 and you're a size 4 and you spend your life on top of a mountaintop or on a beach, you are selling a lifestyle, right? Like you are the laptop luxury lifestyle kind of thing. So for real estate, it's all about image, and real estate, when you're selling a home, is all about image. Like, I want the soaker tub, I want the views, I want the pretty, flowers beside the bed, I want the perfect bedroom, all of that stuff. And so I think Instagram really gives the real estate industry an opportunity, when used correctly, I have to add,
yes,
to really sell the vision. The wonderful home, which of course equates to the wonderful life, which, if we all feel if we had this home, we'd have that life. And you can do that in images, which you guys have anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's so true. And going back to branding and stuff like that, and even though we're using images, and I know some people use text, I came across an open house flyer the other day on Instagram, and I was like, oh my goodness, there was a huge, obvious spelling error in the Instagram photo, and I'm like, how did you not see this? And you're right, it reflects back on that person that is posting that image, and and that's why it's so important within our real estate branding and stuff, to make sure things are consistent, and for God's sake, spell check before you send something out. And sorry, go on.
Spell check. And one of my favorite tips about selling on Instagram that really baffles people is that you don't sell on Instagram.
Sure.
Selling on Instagram is like an infomercial. And if potential followers and Instagram users have a sense that you are selling them, they're going to tune you out. And so this is where just the images, and I see some real estate agents that if I was in charge of their Instagram account, I would do it differently. And that would be to take out open house flyers. I wouldn't even use those, because if I'm not in the market for a house, I don't really have any reason to connect with you.
Yeah.
What you want to do is build relationships the way you would if you were at a networking event. And so you do that as by selling your neighborhood, by selling the features, by selling, I would rather.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you real quick. That totally leads into my next question about how are ways that realtors can use Instagram in their businesses? And I think you nailed it right there. Is you can use it as a networking tool. And I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, and this is true. I think a lot of people miss this, and when Instagram gets a lot of flack about being a platform for influencers, I always sort of jump to the defense, because it depends on how you use it. I use it like I could have this exact conversation with you on Instagram and you would want to stay friends with me. I would want to stay friends with you, because I'm not pitching you, I'm letting you know me a little bit.
Yeah.
If someone comes up to me and says, can I tell you about my product? I really want to sell you this we all walk away. We don't want to deal with that person, and Instagram's the same. So the one thing that I really want to drive home is that Instagram is lifestyle branding. You want to sell the lifestyle. You don't want to sell the house. You don't want to sell your agency. You don't even want to sell you. Yeah. I would rather see, instead of the real estate style photos of the house from outside at night, those kind of images, I'd rather see a really lovely styled bedside table with roses on it. Or, actually, Tracy, you have a brilliant Instagram account. Your aesthetic is really perfect for this kind of lifestyle branding. But, even like a side table with the flowers, or just the dining room table. So taking a hint from designers' Instagrams is a really good way for real estate to approach.
Yeah, so you're touching on this a little bit, and that again was one of my next questions. So what type of content would you suggest that real estate agents do when posting to Instagram? Like you said, don't do open houses. How do we use this platform to eventually, hopefully get leads, get clients, that sort of thing. So what type of content would you recommend that real estate agents be posting more of, and maybe the stuff that we need to stay away from too?
Tracy, I'm going to answer that question in a kind of an unexpected way. There's 3 areas that your content is relevant on Instagram. There's just your regular feed images. There's your captions that you're using, and there's also your stories. And there's more, but I think to answer your question. So I'm more interested in how you're using these 3 different sections. Just your regular feed, I would really go to some of the top designers, or look at for us, just some on the West Coast, what's the IDS interior design show that they do every year, or something like that, and go look at some of those designers that have 24,000, 34,000 followers, and look at their feed. There's also a really good people who do interior design photography are also really good examples. So
photographers are phenomenal.
Yeah, and I can't think of the woman's name off the top. There's one locally that I just love her work, and it's perfect for real estate. So that's for the feed images. Now, the thing you have to remember is your caption is actually just as important as your image.
Yes, going back to that guy about the open house with the huge spelling error. I think the word was reduced or something like that, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
I would never, ever recommend putting something like that in your feed, even spelled properly. It's a sales pitch, and people don't want to engage. So here's what I would recommend is that if you get the good images, Instagram's all about the good images. Look at the designers, look at the design photographers. You'll get a sense. I think most real estate agents understand what a good, but you can use microcosms. I keep using the example, but it might be a kitchen counter with just the stove is like a brand new gas stove, or you know what I mean? Really simple. That aside, you also want to use your caption. Now, when you look at a photo on Instagram, the first half a sentence is the only thing you see without clicking. So you want to use that almost like a headline. So it could be a question like, wish your kitchen looked like this, or can you believe this is on the market, or something that is like, this is going quick if you're interested, so you can use that to create a call to action. But don't do it as a sales pitch, do it as a networking conversation. like, check out this kitchen in this house.
Okay. Yeah, kind of like when we are in our open house.
Exactly. You're not just going, you know, come see my house, come see my house, buy my house, buy my house, right? You're like talking about the features.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
would, in your caption, highlight the features and really pull those out so people are like, and even if they're not looking for real estate in your city, it'll engage them, right?
So kind of like when we're in our open houses, obviously, you know, we're taking them through the house. We're pointing out the features in the house. So kind of similar in Instagram, like you say, like this huge open kitchen, it's perfect for entertaining. So maybe have a shot, like you say, of the beautiful granite countertop and kind of give them a little, maybe a sneak peek and
Exactly.
interested as to what you're talking about, that sort of thing.
Exactly. And what just popped into my head is that if you know the multiple images and the carousel and you can swipe them, those actually, each swipe counts as engagement. And the more engagement you get, the more Instagram thinks people like your stuff and they'll put it out. You'll get even more engagement and be put in front of. If you want to, if you could do something like which one's your dream kitchen and have 3 or 4 kitchens for them to swipe through, people will engage with that stuff.
That's a fantastic piece of advice for his engagement, because as realtors, you know, we're always wanting to engage with our audience and stuff like that. So that's fantastic. Thank you, Catherine. Like to post multiple pictures, not just one, but different pictures, like 5 different pictures of that kitchen, if you want.
So that, and ask a question. Right. And then when they respond, answer them.
Yes.
That's the networking piece. When someone says, oh my God, number 2, that's the one that I want, ask them, are you planning to remodel? Does your kitchen look like whatever? Just have a conversation. The last thing I want to add about content before I forget is that I would put all of the open houses and all of that stuff into stories.
Oh, okay.
For that is that it's not in your face, but you still, of course, agents are going to want to be letting people know what's going on. But you can redirect people to stories using your caption. So if you tag yourself in your stories, it takes them back to your feed.
Okay.
Or sorry, back to your homepage. So if you say like, oh my God, how gorgeous is this kitchen? This is on my list of things to do in the next 5 years, or bucket list, or whatever, you know, really chitty chatty. You know, just listed at, and then tag yourself. When they click you, they go back to your homepage and your stories is right there. So the story will have the red ring, you know, and you can say, check out stories at, you know, tracyrealestate.com or whatever it is. And when they go back there and see that your stories are live, they click on there and get into your stories. Also increases your visibility and your engagement. So it's good to use them, but I would restrict the pitches to the story so that your feed is nice and clean, very simple.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is click on, if you're curious about real estate agents and you click on their profile and all you see is for sale, open house, you know, like it's going to turn people off. Like you're totally right. So
you're not going to attract followers. And the best thing you can do is make yourself look popular. I mean, I know that's like the bane of all social media, but the truth is if you have 10,000 followers, people think you're doing something right. If you have 10 followers, they think your mom and your dad and your dog have followed you, and that's the end of the story. So,
yeah. Exactly.
So it's worth it to build it up. And it's relationship marketing. So if they're not going to buy from you, you don't know that their mom's not going to move to Kelowna next year, or that they're not going to be there on vacation and they think, oh, there's Tracy. I remember her from Instagram. Maybe I'll see her. Well, you know, it's all about reputation.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. You don't know where your next client's going to come from. And that's exactly the way it is in real estate. If you have a deal that didn't go the way you're hoping, or a client, you don't know. You just don't know where it's going to come from. So that's a fantastic point. So do you have any kind of like tools or apps or websites or anything that can help with Instagram? Maybe like where you can edit your photos if you have a dark photo, any kind of tech tools, that sort of thing.
You know, the only thing that I really use is Canva.
Yes.
Canva also has story templates. So you know what? If you wanted to do open house announcements, but you did them in a template designed for stories, you're going to get way more engagement than instead of this house with the big banner across it. You'll get way more engagement just because they aesthetically are in the Instagram style.
Yes.
They have templates just for Instagram posts as well, but you can also edit your photos. So I actually just keep one document one of my posts I do every third post are quotes. So I just have a quote template that sits in my Canva account, and I can just go edit the words, and it takes me 5 minutes, mobile or desktop.
Yeah. And again, keeping with your branding, like it's a super way.
And Canva's like, I'm paying for the account. I don't even know why. I think I'm paying so I can have I can export transparent backgrounds. And I'm paying like $12 a month. Like you can get a free version that I used free as a professional marketer for probably 6 years. Like
yeah, I used free for a long time too, and then I upgraded, but I love the upgraded version because I just find that there's a lot more freedom. There's a lot more photos, which you can also, if you're struggling for content, you can pull your photos from Canva. But what about if we're out and about and we're taking a picture with our iPhone or something, or whatever phone you choose? Do you have a favorite photo editing app that you use or software?
You know, I don't. I use Canva, and I use the built-in editing tools on my phone. And
okay.
Now, the other thing though that I would highly recommend that you can use on mobile or desktop is Later.com. So Later and actually they're BC based. I just found that out, but I love that. So all of their filters have local lower mainland names on them. You can schedule them. Schedule all your posts. You can edit your posts in there. But more importantly, what I like Later for is that you can set up pre-existing captions. And what I use that for is to test my hashtags. So I'll set up a caption that has the same 30 hashtags, and then I'll set up a caption with the different. And when I load it, I change the caption, leave the hashtags, and I'll run that for 7 days or 10 days. And then I'll change it and compare it how hashtags are performing compared to the other ones.
Oh, that's interesting. So it works way more than just a scheduler. It gives you a lot of analytics and stuff like that.
And that's the free version. So, and I think it's like $12 a month if you want to go where they'll actually recommend similar hashtags, or you can get your analytics stats right in Instagram, but Later has a paid feature that's super affordable and really, really useful. So I'm more concerned about that, because then you can see that, like, well, the last 7 times I posted a quote, no, I didn't get any engagement, so I'm not posting quotes anymore, right? And you can compare. There's a bit of a process when you start using Instagram, and people get weighed down in it, but it's not going to be like that forever. Right?
I was just going to say, like, if you could break Instagram down into easy steps, maybe for people that are curious about it, they haven't used it, they're thinking about it, because a lot of people, a lot of realtors will use Facebook because that seems to be what everybody's comfortable with. But if they were thinking about transitioning into Instagram, do you have some basic steps that they can do to make it easier?
Totally. And just as a side note, you can push your Instagram posts to Facebook, so I think I know. And you can do it whenever you want. So if you want to split it up and not post the same content to different platforms, you can go back and post something from 2 weeks ago to Facebook today. Or
can you, before you answer my step question, can you just talk about, back and forth between Facebook and Instagram? Would you recommend the hashtags in Facebook and
No, I go as soon as I post it. Well, actually in Later, you can schedule it to Facebook and Instagram if you don't want to do it manually. I do go in and take the hashtags out on Facebook just because they look funny. They're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would take them out, but it's not a big deal. Sometimes I forget and it's really not a big deal. It just looks like you forwarded it from Instagram. That's the only thing. And I try to avoid that. I try to make it look
right. You want to make it look as organic as possible.
Exactly. So,
Okay.
but to break it down, and I'm just working on a document on this actually, to break it down, there's sort of, I guess, three main components. One is building a following, but what a lot of people fail to recognize is that it's networking. So you don't just
Right.
go out and, follow, try and get followers. People, will say, well, I've had 250 followers for months and I can't get it to change. Well, the question from there is, are you following people that you're not planning to unfollow, right? Now, if someone doesn't follow me back after 2-3 weeks, I will unfollow them because I can't do business with someone who's not there.
Right. That's right.
And
Yeah,
I'm there to grow a business. I'm not there to play around. I do have separate accounts that are for playing around, and I don't care over there. Like, I'll follow big names that I just want to see, Selena Gomez or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I don't do that with my business account. So if you're having trouble growing your numbers, follow people that are relevant, and it could be, the family-run restaurant on the corner of your street where you sell houses in that neighborhood. Like, it's all about the relationship building, right? Are you commenting on other people's posts, or are you replying when they comment on yours? So those are important things that actually help you grow an audience. They get really overlooked. There's one of the things I just wrote in this article I'm putting together is there is not actually a magical Instagram unicorn. Like, there isn't one.
Exactly. People work at it.
It's strategy, it's planning, it's thoughtfulness, and it's relationship building. You have to take the time, or it's not going to work. The thing is when it does work, it's time effective. It's incredibly useful because you go straight to your end user. Like, if I post on Facebook, I go nowhere to nobody. My mom, who's not buying from me. Let me just tell you.
Well, let's hope that she does when she wants to.
Well, she might buy from you actually, but she's not buying from me. But even that, right? If my mom comes through my feed and sees Tracy has commented on my post and links over and likes the houses, she's going to follow, right? Yeah. So but if you're not commenting or liking, you're not there. People don't see you. That's the one thing. The other thing is this might be a bit obvious, but the content you're putting in your feed is critical. There's an Instagram aesthetic. If you are not, and it doesn't mean that your pictures have to fit that aesthetic. It means your pictures have to be consistent, professional, within your brand. They don't all have to be white, overlit, clear lines. If that's your style, that's totally cool. But that's not what I mean by the Instagram aesthetic. What I mean is the easiest way to explain this is your online magazine. Yeah. Instagram has given us the opportunity to create our business magazine. And if you're using photos that your 5-year-old took with a, iPhone 5, 12 years ago, people aren't going to engage with you because it's not the lifestyle brand. Right? So
talking about 5-year-old, 2 questions here. Would you recommend having a separate account just for like friends and family versus business? Or would you mix a bit of family and business into your Instagram feed?
I wouldn't. And the reason for that is it messes with the aesthetic. This is business. I actually have a separate account that now that my daughter's 10, like, I let her post to it sometimes. And, if I get a really good, and so the only difference being that, selling the family lifestyle on Instagram makes sense for real estate, but they've got to be professional photos. So if you've had professional photos taken of your family and it's, your daughter running towards a sprinkler in the summer in the grass or something, and it's a professional photo, that would work. But just those photos that we're all taking all the time about, oh, we went to this park and we saw this dog and we played on that, like, they're generally not the right quality.
Okay. So next question then, what about, would you post those to your stories on your business page just to give yourself more of a, okay, perfect.
No, I would keep it super, super simple. Like, and for you, not all brands, the city is relevant, right? For me, it is because I do a lot of face-to-face networking, like, so I know a lot of people, so it is relevant. It's not relevant for everyone, obviously. In real estate, it's relevant. So I would keep it to the city, the brand, and whichever element of selling a home is most appealing to you, whether that's, you know, the features, the red front door, which I just love and catches my attention every time. Actually, that's a really common one I see with designers, is the, you know, the front door with the fall wreaths, or the fall, you know, pumpkins, or that kind of stuff would work super well.
Yeah, right. And you can do it like you say, do it on the different seasons and stuff like that.
That's a great idea.
Now, here's a little interesting real estate trivia that I don't know if you know about, and I'm going to mess this up. I know I'm going to mess it up. I'm pretty sure it's Sweden. It's a European country. I'm pretty sure it's Sweden, though. It could be Denmark. I don't know. Anyways, if you have a red front door on your house, that is a symbol that your mortgage has been paid off.
I love that.
Yeah, isn't that neat?
Oh my gosh, you should take your old clients a red door when they finish their mortgage.
Yeah.
Who else is delivering doors? Nobody, I'm sure.
There you go. That's a great pop-by gift for all the agents that are listening today.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that's like, and you know what, you guys, that's all Instagram is. Get outside the box. And it doesn't mean it has to be ridiculous. It means it has to be you. So you've already done all this. This is, you know, the thing that so many business owners miss is you've already done all this in your branding and your website and your what's uniquely you. Communicate that in your images, because certain people are only going to want to do business with you and nobody else. And that's what we're trying to find.
I'm kind of seeing a little bit of a pattern here that I think agents could maybe follow a bit, and correct me if I'm wrong. So Instagram would be the equivalent of, like, say, us going to a networking event. You know, we're talking with other agents, we're letting them know what we're all about, or being in an open house and talking about the different features and stuff like that. So if you could imagine Instagram like those two places, that might be easier for you to draw from as to what to post. Is that fair to say?
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. It really is that simple. So when I say there's no magical unicorn, Instagram unicorn, it really is that simple. You know, I've always used the phrase, if you want to get a friend, be a friend. So, you know, don't sit around and wait for people to just come to you. There is no content. I see some accounts that have the most brilliant content and 175 followers. And that just says to me that they haven't clued in yet, that they need to go reach out to people. And like I said, it might be the Earls on the corner by your house. It might be a conference you went to, you know, last week, or whatever it is. You need to be reaching out to people who are in your audience.
Yeah. So how often would you suggest to post to Instagram?
Well, you know, that's probably a hotly debated subject. I post every day. And to be honest with you, if I post something and it's not getting much engagement, I'll post twice. I'll post later that day.
Okay.
My stats say that most of my users are on in the morning, at noon. And that's when I get my best engagement. But if I post in the evening, I get the most likes. And I don't know, I follow a lot of moms in business, if they've all just sat down and the kids are in bed and they start scrolling.
Totally, probably, right?
So if I'm feeling like I'm not getting enough engagement, I'll post at like 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But mostly every day. Some people say every other day. The way the algorithm works, as far as I'm concerned, you're better off to be working with it, which means putting your content into, it's almost like a jet stream or something. You know what I mean? Like, it always makes me think of the, in Finding Nemo, you know, when the turtles are on the current.
Yeah. Right.
That's what it makes me think of. And they're all zooming by.
Yeah.
And if you only jump in once every 3 weeks, nobody knows you're there. You're going
to get spun around in that jet stream and not go anywhere.
And spit out the other end, actually.
Yeah.
And so, and here's the thing, people say, oh, I don't want to post so much, but here's the thing, there's so many other things you don't need to do. That if you're doing this, it's effective, eliminate those other things. And that's so true. It's like, sometimes people can get so overwhelmed with social media because they're like, oh my God, I have to do Facebook, I have to do Instagram, I have to do LinkedIn, I have to do Twitter, I have to do Pinterest, I have to do Etsy. Like, there's all these different social platforms, and you don't have to do every single one of them. No. You do a couple,
that you're totally comfortable with, and you go with those two.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if
and because real estate is really built on trust, relationships and trust and an image, I think Instagram's perfect. Like,
I think so. I agree 1,000%. I think it goes hand in hand, and it's so important in your business, and it's something that you should be doing. Now, for people that are maybe a little late in the game, is it a lost cause for them, do you think? Or is this Instagram growing and growing? And
it's insane. I just looked up the stats yesterday. 1 billion monthly users.
Oh my God, that's
so. Don't tell me your audience isn't on Instagram. Like, just don't.
Yeah.
Your audience is 2% of that is over 65. So you think, oh, it's only 2%. It's 2% of a billion. Like, it's significant. It still has the highest numbers between 18 and 24. But again, we're talking about a billion. So,
well, and also the 18 to 24, they're first time.
It's 13 to 24, not 18 to 24. Sorry.
Okay, well, I'll use 18 to 24 because typically those are first time home buyers. So if you're a real estate agent specializing with first time home buyers, you need to be in the place where those potential clients are.
100%.
So, and that's not to say that if you are working with empty nesters or people that are wanting to downsize, that they're not on Instagram, because they're there too.
Yeah, so, they are. And I even see with my own family, like now they want to see pictures of the grandkids. So they're on Instagram. Like, my mother-in-law is not building a following. She doesn't want to be friends with people from high school, but she's there because her kids and her grandkids are there. And actually we have one great grandbaby now. And she wants, and the mom of the great grandbaby is 22. And it's like a nonstop running story about the baby. Grandma wants to see this. So, you know, that's typically what happens is the grown-ups follow the kids and then leave, but everybody has stayed on Instagram. So.
And you know, it's funny you say that, because that's exactly how I got on Instagram years ago, like years and years ago, is because my niece, I don't know how old she would have been at the time, she was on it, and I was like, well, I should be on it. And this was when it first came out, and I did it because of her. And then it grew into platform for my real estate business. So, you know, now I'm looking at it with a different set of eyes, but like you say, back then, that's exactly why I came onto Instagram. So again, going back to, you just don't know where your next client's going to come from. You don't know who's surfing out there.
And it's just such a powerful, like it just, you know, I just shake my head sometimes. I see people just working so hard. Someone was asking me about content marketing, and I was like, people still do that? Like, who spends countless hours researching keywords and writing blogs? Like, that sounds painful to me. Yeah. But here's the really cool thing. I'll give you one more trick. I know we're almost out of time. You can take a caption and in 15 minutes turn that into a blog post.
Yeah.
It's super easy. Sometimes I just come up with this great stuff off the top of my head, and it's a lovely little caption, and it's, you know, put it into full sentences, make up 2 paragraphs, and you got a blog. And you already got an image to go with it because you just posted it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy to look at pictures, you know, like it's easy to consume, you know, as opposed to like looking at a computer screen with like a paragraph this long. Exactly. I would rather swipe through the photos. Let's get to the point.
Exactly.
You know? So,
and one more thing I'm going to add to that is when you do your bio. So I didn't finish about the really important things for getting started. Your bio is really important because I think they call it name and username, but it kind of appears as a like mine says dogs ecom, Instagram dogs and ecom marketing or something like that. That's searchable. So you want to put in a term like maybe it says, you know, I would try to stay away from the pitch in that point, but maybe it says, you know, living the best Kelowna life or something like that. So it's identifying, you know, that you, or killing the mom life in Kelowna or something, you know what I mean? But that stuff is searchable. And the other thing is you only get one link on Instagram. Don't put links in your captions. They are not copyable and they're not clickable and it looks amateurish. But you can do the click the link in my bio, tag yourself, which takes them back to the bio. Use something like Linktree, which allows you to have multiple links.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you want to have 3 or 4, I wouldn't put too many because it's a bit like a landing page with 12 buttons, like they'll just get confused and leave. But
yeah,
you can have a couple of calls to action in there and make the most of having that space to do that.
Yeah. Catherine, this has been like so awesome. Like
my pleasure.
You have given us so many like little nuggets of wisdom and tips, and I'm sure it's going to be something that people are going to watch over and over because they're going to miss something. And
I hope it's useful. I just think it's the easiest, least time commitment, most fun and creative way to grow your business. So
yes. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Porchlight TV. And thank you everybody else for tuning in and watching this fantastic segment.
Don't forget to follow me at Catherine Mellon with 2 L's. If you follow me, I will follow you back.
That's right. And if you haven't followed Porchlight, you better get on it. Same thing at Porchlight. So, okay. Thank you again so much, Catherine. We're out of time, and I will see everybody in your inbox next week. And thank you again, Catherine.
My pleasure.
Okay. Bye.